Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast designed to analyze the games that we love, the headlines of music, and the movies we can't forget. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, and my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, man. I'm trying to hear you in both headphones, but they don't want to cooperate today.
Listeners, we say this all the time that we experience technical difficulties, but we still persevere. Savon's corner in
Absolutely.
Wellington's Y zone still perseveres, no matter what the obstacles are. But
Absolutely.
we have a lot of
Well,
topics
here
to get
we
into with
go.
this one. Obviously, NBA free agency has definitely escalated over the last few days. We're also going to get into some album reviews, but to start off with the first topic, Klay Thompson joining Dallas, and kind of also how the Golden State era will be remembered. Klay's joining the Mavericks on a 3-year, $50 million deal, ending his 13-year run with the Warriors. And man, this is definitely something that we felt as though was kind of brewing in terms of Klay. I mean, years ago, a few years ago, you talked about, when he kind of still was at his peak of him possibly going to Utah, and you kind of wanting to see that. But now we kind of get it in the latter half of his career. It's so interesting because Dallas definitely they benefit from this, getting a veteran like Klay Thompson, getting a
Absolutely.
shooter of a championship pedigree. And now Golden State, I know they're kind of looking at Larry Markkinen, potentially
Mhm.
adding some different pieces to get some defenders and shooting. But what were kind of your initial thoughts and takeaways when you heard this news and how this is going to work for him in his future?
So as I got the notification, I text you. It was like, it's crazy that the career that Barnes had was supposed to be, I feel like, supposed to be Clay. Him leaving and going to the Mavericks, and then he eventually got to the Kings and found a place where he can kind of thrive. I wanted that with Klay Thompson in its prime. It's a good. He still has, I think, 2 years left in the tank of his capability, not full capability, but of a percentage of his capability, especially the shooting. I
Yeah,
think that's what they're going to need out of him. With the Mavericks, but him just being in the corner, staying, spreading out the defense. When Luca or Kyrie pushes in and the defensive collapses, pushing it out, I think Klay Thompson is going to be that guy to knock it down. He's going to be that other threat because he
mm,
doesn't have to be the one or two. He's the third guy. Now
yeah,
he can literally just shoot and show that he's a splash brother for a reason.
he
And he'd
is.
still be a splash brother. So I love that he went to the Mavericks. I love that they gave him opportunity. And obviously he's thinking like, if I do go somewhere, I want to still compete. And Dallas Mavericks still has an opportunity to compete in the West. And we've seen that them going all the way to the NBA finals with this
Mm,
lineup. So now they get to stretch the floor a little more. They still can have that identity of playing in the middle and pushing the middle and playing the 1-2 game. But now they have, I think, an immediate threat as a 3-point shooter. And Klay
yeah,
Thompson, I think it's good.
and that's the thing. Like, he obviously wants to go to Dallas because of championship aspirations. He
Yeah.
knows that the Golden State is kind of not in that same mode or zone of possibly being able to do that. But I also think, man, Dallas they know that they had to, outside of that Luca and Kyrie combo, they had to get guys who could score. Like that was the
Yes.
thing we had mentioned. Like when Luca was in foul trouble and Kyrie wasn't scoring in Boston, who else was going to stand up for you? Like who else was going to step up and make the big shots? And
PJ
it was
Washington.
PG. That's your guy, Derek Lively. So it definitely got to a point where it was like, okay, we have to get other guys, other reputable sources who can score, and it's a bonus to have a championship pedigree. I do want to
Mhm.
mention the Lakers situation, and some people thinking that he was going to go there. I think Clay is too competitive to team up with LeBron. I just think he's like, it would have been really weird for like finals after finals and him being like, okay, now I'm going to team up with LeBron, like my ex rival. I didn't see it happening, even though I do think like he grew up a Lakers fan. His dad was a player,
Right.
commentator.
Yeah.
His dad mentioned on Frank Isola's radio show that he was disappointed that Clay didn't go. He literally said, I know Clay can make any decision he wants to, but I'm disappointed he didn't decide to come to LA. Like he was very honest about it. Did you think the Lakers were like a legitimate option for him?
I've saw a couple things around Twitter and a couple other places where they tried to get Klay Thompson. I think they wanted to pay him like $20 million and then give them D'Angelo Russell in a trade, and they denied it. But I don't know. I feel like Klay Thompson wouldn't fit there. He wouldn't fit the mold. not mentally, but just like playing wise. I think the style of play they're doing, I don't think it. You would think because LeBron James is a facilitator to get him the ball, they're running
Hmm.
play, whatever. But I just don't think it would have been a good fit for him. I think the Mavericks are missing that piece. I think with the Lakers, they have the potential that haven't come to fruition just yet. They have some shooters,
Oh,
but
for
they didn't
sure.
come to
Yeah.
fruition. So I think Klay Thompson was better off with the Mavericks. It was a better situation. Now I feel like OKC and the Mavericks are switched. So, and I know we're going to talk about that. The Mavericks have the big man. The Mavericks can bang. They can 1-2 game. They can rebound all these things and score most of their points in the paint. OKC is not built like that. And that's why they got I forgot his name. We're going to talk about it. I don't want to
Isaiah
spoil it.
Hartenstein. Yeah.
Yeah, they got him, but it's like flipped. They need a shooter now. The Mavs needs a shooter. Okay, what's the best option out there? Who's a guy who can still shoot at a high percentage? Klay Thompson.
Of
It was a
course.
better situation for the Mavericks than the Lakers. It wouldn't fit. I think the Lakers have like potential shooters that still need a couple more years to come to fruition.
Hmm. Definitely. And they had the press conference for Bronny yesterday, and also
For a second round pick.
that's crazy. I'm sorry, that's crazy. And JJ said, "I want you guys to know, Bronny earned this. Bronny earned this. We did not give out any free." I was like, "Look at JJ getting his politician bag."
Bro. He hasn't earned it yet. But it's fine. I want people to know it's fine that Bronny got drafted second round pick
Mm,
because of his dad and the potential he has. He
right.
has not earned that. No, absolutely not. He didn't do enough in college, obviously, the health issues, but he has to earn it. He hasn't earned it yet. Come on. JJ, that's PR 101. Like, bro, we wanted him. He earned this. He didn't do. Okay. All right. Oh,
I
my
have a problem.
goodness.
I do have an honest problem with JJ not doing some coaching summer league. He's letting another guy do it, and I was like, JJ, you got to you you got to get
Oh,
out there
my
somehow.
goodness.
You got to get out there somehow, man. Like we haven't seen you coach one game, and I'm like,
It's
what
going to be an
is?
abomination.
It's like, hey, like nah, like I'll let another guy do it. It's like we haven't seen you coach like a minute, like nothing yet. And I think Summer League
You
would like we even talked about it in the last episode. We think that would be the perfect time for him to step out and just get acclimated with the younger
absolutely.
players. Like that's when you can really just experiment because it's nothing's on the line, nothing's at stake. But this is the perfect time to like really like what you do, the mentality you have that you want to have as a coach. Like put it all out there in the summer and like just see how it the early stages of it works. Because you
Yeah,
start
and
off in the preseason.
yeah, create that foundation. Create the foundation, not as a team, but as a coach. You need the experience. You need to log the minutes. You need to show people, not show. I think he has the utmost confidence in himself,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
you got to show your players that you just inherited
Mm,
that okay, we can watch this summer league and we can see how you coach.
yeah.
When you're a commentator, you had your podcast and you were able to use your knowledge and get better as you went on as being a commentator and an analyst, all those things. You didn't wait like, no, I'm gonna let somebody else talk on air. I'm just gonna stay back and wait. Bro, treat it as the exact same thing because
Yeah,
talking on air and being an analyst is not easy.
it's
It's
not.
literally not easy. So being a head coach is extremely more difficult than talking on air.
Yeah.
Bro, you need to log the minutes. That's
There's just
crazy.
there's no replacement for that. No replacement at all for that. And that's my early I'm getting early concerns with this experiment
You
if he's not
should.
even if he's not getting immediately activated within the system. Another headline, obviously earlier this week, Paul George in Philadelphia, which I want to say this, Adrian Wojnarowski, he reported this at 3 a.m. Woj, are you getting any sleep? I mean, this
Right,
literally reported
bro.
this at 3 a.m. I'm like, come on, George. Like,
And
w-
I
we know you
I
got to be
happen to be
24/7 with
up
it.
too. I
Oh,
happen
really?
to be up too. Like I think because it's over there, it's like I think he was like one, but I happen to be up. I was like, I called that.
Yep. Hmm.
I called that. Yeah.
in Philly, 4 year, 212 million deal, and this obviously gives them another star because we don't really have like that many potent trios in the league currently. But I mean, we got Embiid, we got Maxi, George. That is a really good trio, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, I
Well,
do have concerns about the health. That's just something I'm gonna constantly be thinking about. Can Joel Embiid stay healthy? Paul George, he's had a history of injuries in the past. Not saying that it's gonna happen, but those are things you have to consider. What do you think this does for Philly, and how high do you think it puts them in the hierarchy of these?
yeah, it moves them up really fast. So last week we talked about them being top three of in the discussion for the East. It either moves them to number two or stays at number three because adding it doesn't go to number one. Boston is
Oh,
still a
no, no, no,
team.
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
for sure.
So it's either
Boston's the
two
cream
or
of the crop.
absolutely out of two, either two or three. And I say that because now they can change the pace. So they can go at each pace. So you could run transition. You can allow Maxi just to 1-2 and go,
Mhm.
or you can slow it down. PG bring up the ball, and it's just like so many things you can do. And then you have two guys that ISO because PG can still ISO, and
Oh,
you
for
you
sure,
like
yeah.
a 4 or 5 way scorers now. PG is one of those guys. He's the ISO. He can back it down. He can finish at the rim. He can shoot high percentage from the field and from the 3 point. Like he's a high level scorer when healthy. And Joel Embiid is a 3 way scorer. So it's I think you add that to the backcourt, it makes them immediately better. Tobias Harris is going to be in limbo. Man, I just wish he would
Detroit.
have panned out. Like I just wish he would have panned out, bro.
Oh man.
Um, that's
Never
crazy.
happened. It never happened. We never saw the true fruition of what Tobias Harris could be. We never saw
Right. And he came
it.
from the Clippers over in the
Yeah,
the trade or whatever. Man, it was crazy. That was a crazy trade. I was like, oh yeah, and he was cooking with the Clippers,
he was.
which was like,
We
okay,
look
now
at we
he's
look at
about
a
to,
lot of players from the Clippers, even Shea.
yeah.
Shea was with LA, and now we see what he's doing in OKC. A lot of players from that trade in 2019.
Man, oh man. But it makes them better. The
Yeah,
backcourt
for
for
sure.
sure. And then for the defense, front court, I think PG's still a good defender. So it's just he adds the immediate element they need if he stays healthy. And if he can transition for what he did this season to with the 76ers, I think they'd be number two and number three.
I think so too, and I honestly would still have New York ahead of them. Because I personally think the Knicks, this Knicks team, we saw the Knicks against Philly
Mhm.
in the first round of the postseason, and we saw
But
but obviously
mhm, come on.
Joel Embiid,
Come on.
and he was not 100%.
Mm-mm.
But I would have New York ahead of Philly just because I don't want to fall for the bait of just being like, just because you add a star that puts you ahead of it.
Yeah.
I do think Paul George is the perfect fit for Philly. We didn't
Yeah.
mention this about Philadelphia or Golden State. I definitely think he's the perfect fit for them. But New York to me is, they seem like a better unit overall. To me, like they seem like a better cohesive unit. But the potential of Philadelphia is like title. Like they're that good where it's like, okay, this is like title potential. So the potential is there, but I think that the current iteration, I would have New York ahead of them. Moving on to the West though, with thoughts on OKC's recent offseason move, they signed Isaiah Hartenstein from New York on a 3 year, 87 million deal. We mentioned that they needed bigs. They needed to get more size with their team, and they got that now. They were
You
able.
mentioned that.
Oh yeah,
You called it several podcasts, bro.
they were
Hmm.
able to acquire that, and I think like this is a really good fit for them because OKC was like, they were close in that Dallas series.
Yeah.
I know we joked about you saying OKC is going to the finals, but they were close in that game six. They were really close in that. It came down to a shot and a foul by Shea on a three. But overall, I mean, that team is now, because now you have Shet, now you have Isaiah Hartenstein. You've got the
Hmm.
two bigs that you need, and I think Shea is just going to continue to ascend.
Hmm.
And they got a good unit. OKC's
Yeah.
got a good unit, and I think next year could be a really scary year for the rest of the league facing them.
Absolutely. Don't forget Caruso.
Yeah, Caruso as
And I
well.
mean,
Yes,
they literally
I
are,
like their offseason.
yeah, making themselves be like, okay, we were number one last year and we're still missing some pieces.
Right.
Now we should definitely be solidified number one. Caruso shooting over 40%. That's what they were missing. That's what they wanted Giddy to be. And he
Hmm.
wasn't that. And then, like we talked last week, Caruso is a utility player. Then you get Harnstein and like a true big man, but versatile
Yes.
as well. And it adds that and it takes the load off of Chet. So Chet can move from 3 to 4 now. He doesn't have to be the 5 or stay at the 4. He can move from 3 to 4 because he can play small forward a little bit and get on the wing. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody spreads out anyways. There's only one person in the box, and then everybody's else at the wing or in the corner. So they're spreading out the offense anyways. But he can. It's a lot of things you can do with Chet now. Now that you have a solidified big man, now you have a utility player. OKC has really shown me and everybody in the league, hey, put on notice. You thought we were good last year. We
Haven't
just
seen anything
made the
else.
moves
Yeah, I haven't
to
seen
make
anything
us
yet.
better and take us over the hump. And what I loved about this, a lot of teams, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, whatever, they
Hmm.
always try to find the pieces that'll get them over the hump. And a lot of teams can't figure out how to get over the hump. I think OKC just figured it out.
Yeah, they really did. Because I mean, you mentioned it. So accurately. Alex Caruso just got picked up by them, and now we got Hartenstein. Like they are getting all the right. They're really checking all the boxes in the offseason of what
Mhm.
a contender, an up and coming contender, needs to do in the offseason after a playoff loss. And so they got that experience. They got that 1 year playoff experience, and now it's like, okay, we're really about to take off. Like, and I
Absolutely.
think this is going to be the season because like if I'm doing a hierarchy, like they might be the top of the West, honestly. If I'm looking at all the teams like OKC, um, I know Minnesota,
Denver.
we would still like them. Denver as
Still
well.
got to put Denver in
Um,
there. You
but
can't
Denver
go.
let go. I definitely put Denver up there, but they let go of KCP, and they also have given up some key. I don't know how their depth is gonna be, and I'll never doubt Denver. You know me. I'll never doubt. I'll get back on the Denver bandwagon as soon as possible. But I know Jokic wants Westbrook as well, and so he said about them pursuing Westbrook, Westbrook possibly coming off the bench. Um, I don't know. Their top their top player, their top line players is still good. It's still really good. Some of the best in the league, but I think their depth is the one thing they continue to have to address this offseason.
Now you make a good point. KCP, he's one of those utility guys too. But I think if they get West, I think they answer it back really fast.
Oh yeah,
And I think you get a upside from Westbrook, even in his latter years of his career. Yeah, I just can't. Even with the moves they're making, they always figure it out. They
oh
always
yeah.
figure out, and I can't take them out of the top four. I just can't.
Oh, I would
So
not do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Was
they
it
stay there.
OKC, Minnesota,
Minnesota, Denver,
Denver,
Dallas.
Dallas? Not even putting the Lakers in there.
Oh no, I mean their coach doesn't even want to like give
Right. He
Harden
doesn't want
summer
to coach. We hired you to coach, but you're gonna let somebody else coach. It's
Okay,
crazy, bro.
gotcha.
Wow. I think we
Summer
made
league
the right
podcast.
decision.
Summer league podcast.
I hope not. I hope not. Oh, so you can podcast, but you can't coach.
That would be crazy. You know he's gonna
See
try to
what you
find a
doing
mic.
out
Is it
here.
somewhere? I just gotta get a mic just for one day.
That's crazy.
And now I'm moving on to the news of Kemba Walker retiring from basketball, which
Hmm.
really came out of nowhere. He the Hornets all time leading scorer after being drafted ninth overall in 2011 draft. He also did mention quote that basketball's done more for me than I could have ever imagined, and I'm super thankful for the amazing journey I've had. And I saw a clip of him talking about it on Carmelo Anthony's podcast. They said that they're going to release the episode this Friday, but he's going to really like get in depth to all the reasons he decided to make this decision.
Mhm.
And man, it's had a really interesting career. Had some ups, obviously. Charlotte, really good run.
Yeah.
Then kind of like went along. Went to Boston at one point. Just had different iterations of his career, but overall, I think he had a good career.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just doesn't pan out with one team. And I think
Right.
for players, like you kind of get to that wall, and then you just kind of like just try to find a different team to like bring you back to the relevancy you once had. But how will you kind of remember his career and what he did overall?
Step back king. Even
Yes.
before James Harden kind of, honed it and formed it and morphed it. But man, we seen that step back in the championship game to win it all. It was it
That
was
was
it
so
was
bold.
crazy, man. And him just to come in the league, I just think he got drafted to the wrong team.
Yeah.
And I think he wasted his golden years there because they were never going to be a contender. It didn't matter if
Mm-mm.
Michael Jordan was the owner or not. They're not going to be a contender. And I think it wasted his golden years. But he had a lot of points out of there. It was a lot of excitement there that he brung there. I mean, his career, I think he had a good career, but it was, it's so many people or so many players are just put in a place where they're just going to be good players. I don't think he was ever a great player because a great player gets to the playoffs. Great player gets to the NBA finals. A great
Yeah.
player it's like that's the next step of your career. Getting a good player, averaging 20 points, 30 points a game, blah, blah, blah. But I think that separates from a good player from a great player, how far you go. And I think how you make your teammates better. I don't think that aspect he missed out on. He didn't. I think he wasn't able to make his teammates better. But he was a good player for sure. He had a good career, and I just wish he went to another place and started there and gave them the golden years there. But he just got wasted away.
And I think he's also one of those players where the college career is like ends up being better than the NBA career was
Yeah.
because what he did in UConn, I'll never forget that run. That
Oh my
run, man.
goodness.
That the Big East tournament, and he just was cooking in the Garden. Like
They
the
could
the
hold him.
step back was just so
That step
insane.
back was so like vicious, man.
I was like, yo,
You can't
this guy.
guard that. That's
No,
unguardable. Like the step back is unguardable
yeah,
unless you're holding his shorts. Like it's crazy. It's unguardable. Like you lean it and he just step back and you gotta cover that ground. He doesn't even see you at this point.
yeah.
Jump, yeah, it's nothing. Like he has to miss it for you. Like it's yeah, man. That's unguardable.
We forgot to mention this at the beginning. I mean, we kind of already mentioned the Lakers, but it was announced today that LeBron is signing a 2 year, 104 million deal. Same with the Lakers. I
Surprise.
I know, so crazy. 2 years. You know what that tells me? 2 more years. 2 more years.
You know what
He's
else?
he, Go ahead.
You know what else? Bronny has 2 years.
Oof. It's a quick timetable. It's a quick time.
You better, you better, you better get right in those 2 years
Yeah,
because dad cannot save you. That was enticement for him to stay in the league and to stay with the Lakers. You have 2 years, Bronny. Hey, guess what? JJ, you have
got
two
2 years.
years.
Everybody got 2 years.
Everybody got to AD. two
It is a
years.
2 year announcement for everybody, not just LeBron. He does. This
No,
was a very specific deal, and he was like, "Hey, I'm doing 2 years. I got 2 more years left, and the rest of you do too. So you better get right."
sad, bro. NBA fans, we have 2 years.
Yeah,
Let that sink in, man. No more
I
LeBron
just can't believe
James.
this. I just can't believe this is about to happen, man.
No more LeBron. It was. I think it's
We just
gonna
got
be
so accustomed to seeing him in the finals. Remember, every year we just expected like LeBron in the finals, LeBron in the
absolutely
finals,
Bron. Let's chase the rings, bro. We
and
need
we
you to
got
surpass Mike.
so like complacent with the appreciation of it.
Oh, for sure,
You know what I mean? I think that we
for
really got
sure.
complacent with it. I think that's the part of it that's nobody wants to hear that because they'll be like, oh, like it's overblown. But I think it's true. I really do think
Hmm.
it is true. That greatness, that amount of greatness, man, can be taken for granted
Absolutely, especially when you're one of the most hated players for no
for no reason.
reason. Man, how like, bro? Sometimes I just
When
think
I do
about
ask
that.
people like, why do you hate LeBron? They'll be like, ah, man, I mean, he went to Miami, like a big three, man. I never can agree. I'm like, well, he learned how to win a title. You know what I mean? He learned how to win championships, and I think that's my personal favorite LeBron era, that big three era, because I was like, man, he like really like you saw him really change.
Yeah,
And it was like, man, he really like stepped up and was like, I have the formula now for winning championships. I've already
Hmm.
done everything as an individual player to get that recognition of being great. But now it's like I can win titles. I think
Hmm.
that aspect of it is just so special.
And plus, now you are the organization who wants you to win titles, who will
Yeah.
get you the players. And this is why I hate when people say they hate LeBron because he left. LeBron was extremely patient with the Cavaliers. When
Oh
he
yeah.
first got in the league, he literally took them from winning, I think they won like 20 games to like 30, 40 games. His
Hmm.
first season as a 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid. Like, y'all got to understand, he was with the Cavaliers for a long time, and they did nothing to get him players to get to a championship. And when he did go, he carried the load. Then you go get a old Shaquille O'Neal. I think they had Eric Snow at one point. Like they were like getting like these old veteran guys that did not have it anymore.
Yeah.
And you expect
Like,
me,
hey, go win a title with them. Go win a title with them.
right, bro? People want him to be loyal. Mike did not have to go anywhere because I forgot his name, the general manager that they did not like.
Jerry Krause.
Jerry Krause, thank you. He was a surgeon with getting players and putting players together.
That man kept the train humming. He kept the train humming.
Absolutely. Even I think Jerry West was the general manager when Shaq left and go to Miami. He got bro, they went to go get Paul Gasol. They got Lamar Odom. They drafted Andrew Bynum. Like they were getting him players to get to the championship.
Yeah,
You still had a Derek Fisher who was still like that's the difference. People want them to be loyal. These organizations are not loyal to these players, and then you expect them to stay and let their prime be wasted away like a Kemba Walker. Bro, that's crazy. If you hate LeBron because of that reason, you don't know basketball. You on the bandwagon just to hate him, and he didn't even start the big three. Guess who did? And it won. So you know the
okay,
difference between exactly. You know the difference between starting a big three and solidifying a big three. They only won one,
yeah,
just one.
that was it. That was
Come on,
it.
bro, it's crazy. LeBron
Um,
James, Lebanon James, Lebanon
LeBron
James.
James. Oh man. Some other free agency news: Donovan Mitchell. You know, he recently agreed to a 3 year, 150.3 million extension with the Cavs. Glad to see that. Definitely glad to see him stay with Cleveland.
Mhm.
Um, Chris Paul, San Antonio.
Loved it.
Wimby. Wimby's gonna begin some life changing lobs.
It's gonna be
um,
delicious.
it,
It's
it
gonna be
really is,
delicious.
man. I think Kyle Anderson is going to the Warriors on a 3 year deal. So definitely have some other moves. Tatum re-signed with
Hmm.
the Celtics for an extension. Have there been any other moves that have kind of stood out to you so far?
The Chris Paul move for sure. Obviously, it gets them to 500. That's what I believe. I just
It's
believe it.
got to.
I just believe it gets them to 500. Now you have a veteran structure, and then when I was telling a couple of my friends, it was like, "Oh, why you like that pick or like that pickup? Because look what he did with OKC with those young guys.
That can't go unnoticed, man.
And he turned that around, and they were 500, and that's what started the journey of them getting to be number one now.
Yeah,
And you see what happens when he leaves the Suns and they go to disarray and they still have a big three or these players. CP3, and then again, giving your flowers. And I had to eat the crow when he went to the Rockets. It's like, why is he going to the Rockets? After that, I told myself I'll never bet against CP3. That man is a team game changer. Wasn't able to do what he needed to do at Golden State, injuries, but I think if healthy, he makes them better, and they get to 500.
oh for sure,
Yeah.
they definitely do. What do you think Golden State like? Obviously, I saw Draymond talk about Clay leaving. And apparently last year Draymond was going to go to Memphis. He said in his podcast that he told Steph, Clay, and Steve Kerr in a meeting last offseason. He's like, "Hey man, I'm going to Memphis." Like, and I didn't even know that. I didn't even know like that was a potential
Right.
move or crazy bombshell. Honestly, j-
Hmm.
just honestly, I did not even know of that. But what do you think is the next phase for Golden State? You know, like with Steph still there, you got Draymond. They're obviously they got some younger players, but it seems like it's one of those like they're in that bottom tier of the West. You know what I mean? They're in
Yeah.
that like ninth to 11th
I'm a.
portion of the West, and it's just Steph. Steph's the guy, and it's all the others.
I'm gonna give you just one thing, and you will get it. Kobe Bryant at the end of his career.
No,
That's what the Warriors is about to go to, bro. And then they rebuild.
oh man,
That's what it's going
it was
to,
some
bro.
dark times.
Oh, for
It was
sure.
some dark times.
You can't be that great and not go through a dark time.
Yeah,
Because the
and
same
that's what happened.
formula that I think they can't use the same formula they did with Clay, Steph, Draymond, Barnes. What's the other guy named Afro? One of the best mid range shooters of all time.
Sean
Uh,
Livingston.
yeah, Sean
Yeah,
Livingston. Like
I loved his game.
that formula, bro. David West was there
Mhm.
too. Like you can't repeat that formula because those are like totally different players. You can't mimic or emulate those type of players.
No,
Steph is a generational shooter. There will never be a shooter like Steph Curry. Klay Thompson is dang near second. There'll never be a shooter like Klay because Klay used to get so hot. Like man, there'll never be another shooter. So you can't duplicate that formula. You have to start from scratch and figure out another formula. I don't think they can do that. Steph literally has 2 more years. I think he's going to get bored because he's doing all kind of things outside of basketball. He might even like, okay, this is Clay's gone. Draymond, you should have went to Memphis if you was gonna go to Memphis, bro. You had my
I think
boy
they're kind of thinking like, I mean, you
like
do
go.
it. You should
Like,
have done it, honestly. Go to
nah,
Memphis.
no, don't go.
It's one of those where you're like, oh man,
No.
please don't
Yeah.
leave.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sad. No, bro, go. Like
Yeah,
you had him in shambles last year.
yeah. Steph, that was the most frustrated I had ever seen Steph. Man, he was just like, this guy has to leave. Like, there's no more, there's no more reasons. No more reasons for you to stick around, bro. You can't avoid getting ejected. You can't avoid it. It's just gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
We
You can go
don't need
through.
that anymore.
No, it's old. It's played out.
And I think they put up with it because you were shooting pretty decently from the 3 point
When you're
field.
great and you're knocking down shots, we can cover it up. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, like,
And you
you
playing,
still are like the peak of what we need in terms of this
yeah.
Warrior system.
You're a Dennis Rodman,
Yeah.
but you can shoot sometimes. Like you're gonna rebound, you're gonna play defense, you're gonna facilitate,
Hmm.
and you're gonna knock back. You're a Dennis Rodman. We don't need that anymore.
Yeah. Those years are over, man.
I think Draymond should retire. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. I just think he should retire. There's nothing more for you to do in
Yeah.
basketball.
I don't see what else there is to do. I think
T- yeah.
we are getting to the closing stages
Hmm.
of his career. Honestly, I mean, he's full mode TNT podcast. I mean, like it's right there for you, man. It's right there for you. Like Charles Barkley, this is Charles Barkley's last year
Yeah.
inside the NBA. So
I think he should replace Charles, or I like. Well, Jamal is. You got to have that chemistry. I think Draymond would fit
yeah,
in with those
it wouldn't be
guys
as
more
good, but
than
yeah,
Jamal Crawford.
for sure.
But yeah, it's over, bro. Just take your rings. Take
Four
what you've
rings,
done for the
really good.
game at
Four
six
rings.
seven. I think he's 6'7", and what you did, like, bro, take that, put it on the shelf, be an on air talent. That's what you should do, and invest. I'm pretty sure he's already invested, but yeah.
Oh yeah, those are the recommendations from the full scope.
Take heed,
Yeah, take heed.
please.
We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.